The late rapper XXXTentacion once said that when you are willing to change things within yourself, there comes a point where nothing and nobody bothers you anymore. I see now where he was coming from. How you can feel complete liberation once you start taking accountability for your feelings and heal from within, instead of passively giving external sources and people the power to control your feelings. When your mind is harmonious and your heart is healed, when you begin to truly love yourself, it is so much easier to love everyone and everything around you, regardless of what behaviors they make. Don't get me wrong, there were times in the past when I felt hurt by the people around me or bothered by the circumstances I was in, and I was quick to blame everyone and everything around me for it. During such times, it's easy to shift all the blame onto external sources, aka the other person. It's easy to say things like, well, it's their fault. They did this to me. It was unfair to me. I'm the victim here. Now, you do have a right to feel that way. Your feelings are valid, and they are very much real. But you also have the power to liberate yourself from them, to place your power back on yourself rather than give it to other people. So how do you do that? How can you feel so light and liberated to the point where you feel no resentment, no hurt, no jealousy, no hatred towards anyone or anything around you? How can you get to a point where nothing bothers you anymore? Where you only give love to both your well-wishers and to the people who wish you harm? You can start by asking yourself 2 questions. Number 1, what if I am the problem here? Number 2, what if I am the only one who needs to change in order to feel better about myself and the people around me? Asking yourself these questions might bring up some resistance. It's very rare for us, after all, from a place of hurt and despair to ask ourselves, well, what if I'm the problem? What if this conflict is partly my fault? There's a couple reasons why asking ourselves this question can be hard at first. For one, nobody wants to take accountability for their misery on top of dealing with the misery itself. It's easier to put the blame on other people, which can make you become blind to your shortcomings and to your own role in the conflict that occurred. Additionally, we tend to let our ego get the best of us. In any argument or conflict that we find ourselves in, we feel the need to constantly defend ourselves to save our dignity, maintain our respect, and avoid humiliation. We enter into an argument with the goal of winning it, not necessarily understanding it further. The third reason we may never ask ourselves this question is because, for the most part, most of us at least, have good intentions, and we were just doing the best we can with what we know. So when we ask ourselves, hey, what if I'm the problem? We question ourselves and our capability, and we're entertaining the idea that our best might not be good enough. This can make you feel incapable and miserable, and it can make you feel like you're a bad person. But it is important to understand that you are not a bad person, regardless of whether you find yourself to be the problem or not. When you are taking steps to better yourself, you are inherently good. You are coming from a place of love for yourself and for others. Only good people can have the courage to understand why they act the way they do and take accountability for it, even if it makes them feel uncomfortable. Asking yourself whether you are the problem and how you can change yourself allows you to be more than a victim who is controlled and powerless to external circumstances. Instead, you are seizing your power by understanding your contribution to the conflicts that you find yourself in. The jealousy you feel towards someone may come from insecurity within yourself, for example. The hatred you feel towards something may come from unhealed hurt that you still feel from some other event entirely. You have to become aware of your feelings, your behavior, and your mindset, and then go a step further and ask why. Maybe the conflict with your spouse about your stinginess with money comes from a scarcity mindset you developed as a child in a low-income family. Maybe your hesitancy to open up to a loved one comes from years of neglect. When you are analyzing the conflicts within your life and your potential role in creating them, it can help to remember that the way you judge people is often a reflection of internal wounds that you need to heal within you. Journaling about past conflicts and feelings can also help, or if you're not a writer, maybe you can just talk to yourself in the mirror. Another helpful thing to ask yourself is, what is the emotion you are most afraid of feeling? Sit with this emotion and understand where it originates from. You may be the most afraid of feeling like a failure, for example, which is why when other people succeed, you feel resentment towards them. But really, the more you sit with this emotion and you understand it, you may realize it actually comes from past experiences when you tried pleasing your family but was never good enough. Or maybe it comes from, when you had a big dream for yourself when you were younger, but everyone told you it was impossible. So now you're just hardwired to hate other people for achieving their dreams when you are too afraid to go after your own. There are so many possibilities, so many reasons, and they are all personal. So you must be willing to have a deep, thorough conversation with yourself. Don't feel awkward or embarrassed or afraid. It's yourself. You have nothing to be afraid of. Embrace the discomfort of this process. Asking yourself whether you are the problem or not is going to invoke self-healing within you, which can be uncomfortable. But growing pains are inevitable when you are up-leveling yourself. When you ask yourself, what if I'm the problem? You open the doors to later ask yourself, what can I change about myself so I can feel better and heal? And once you heal yourself, you will be unstoppable because now you are acting from a place of understanding and love for yourself. Your sense of self will be so strong and unwavering that nothing anyone says against you will ever make you question your worth. Instead, you will find it easier to extend the love that you feel for yourself towards the people and the situations around you. Even when someone or something makes you become aware of another thing you have to heal within yourself, now you have the ability to understand yourself more deeply, to make yourself even better, and lead yourself with even more love than you knew possible, so your self-love and your worth will only grow. There will be times when people will try to inflict pain and hurt upon you only because of their own insecurities and pain that they haven't healed within themselves yet. But when you are in touch with yourself and truly aware of your power to control your feelings, you are able to liberate yourself from the emotional hold that they have on you. By just wishing them well and moving on with your life, it doesn't matter anymore why people act the way they do. You stop giving your haters any of your time and energy because you find it pointless to hold grudges against these people who only act out of their own hurt that they have yet to heal. Out of love for yourself, you only know how to operate out of love for others and everything around you. You don't necessarily need to forgive them, but you do not need to give any focus towards them either. Just focus on yourself, on the present moment, and if they ever pop up in your mind, mentally wish them well and then continue about your day. During this healing process, you might come across something that makes you feel ashamed or embarrassed or mad at yourself. Maybe you acted in a toxic way towards someone in your past just because you were hurt inside. Either way, you must forgive yourself. The more mad you feel at yourself or the more ashamed you feel, match that feeling with twice as much love. Give yourself love because you are courageous for putting yourself in the uncomfortable position where you are partly at fault. You are courageous for taking accountability and initiative to improve yourself. You can't successfully change yourself for the better if you do not love yourself throughout the process. So forgive and let go and move on. You'll know you did this process right when you feel light and free and liberated and in control of your emotions, regardless of everyone and everything around you. You become truly unbothered, and you know in your heart that you can accomplish everything you put your mind to. By choosing to ask yourself whether you are the problem, by choosing to ask yourself how you can change in order to feel better, you take control of your life, and you become your own hero.